Hello, hello. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to our Friday night Claret and Booze Up. We're joined with Gary and John with me again tonight. The gang's back together, and we are joined by West Ham YouTube royalty, Russ Budden, all the way from West Ham Network. How are you, Russ?
Yeah, I'm all right. Just grooving to the tunes, man. Friday night.
Good, isn't it?
That's it. Yeah. I like it.
Made for the weekend. Made for the weekend.
Easy.
We've got plenty to discuss this evening. Obviously, we've got the European game, the Rapid Vienna game to review. We're going to be running through some Hammers news. There's been some quite interesting stories that have come out. Well, one in particular that we're going to run through. John's going to mock the footballing week. Then we're going to look ahead to the Manchester City game at the weekend. So we shall get on with the show. But I mean, I suppose before we do, should we have a little chinwag?
Might as well.
Yeah. I know. Gary, you're not feeling very well today. You're feeling a bit poorly.
I'm feeling a bit ropey. It has to be said. I had the booster jab on Wednesday, and I felt absolutely fine. And then yesterday I got aching arms, started to feel fluey. Today I think I've just got a cold. I think it's it's not a cold. It's flu. I got flu. Real extreme.
Man flu.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It used to be just a cold. But now it's like, do I have to take a test? 18 months ago, you'd have just got it. You know what I mean? Just differentiating the two now between COVID and the cold. But yeah, it's bad, man.
Yeah. Well, I think the horrible thing, if you've got to get a tube into work now and you've got a little tickle and you've got a cough, I mean, the anxiety for me, if I get on a train and I feel like I'm going to, because you feel like you're going to get lynched. If you start coughing on the tube, you feel like you're going to get beat up or something. People start looking at you funny.
Really true.
But okay, well, look, let's going to have a bit of an informal chat really about the Rapid Vienna game. Good result. It was a good result. It had kind of a bit of a training match feel to me. It was we completely dominated. When you consider, Rapid, they needed to win that game, didn't they? They never really come close to pushing us. I was quite happy with the lineup. I would have liked to have rested. I think my only comment before the kickoff was I would have liked to have rested Bowen. But I can understand why he did that. Yeah, the only thing that confuses me with that, do you feel the same with that, Russ? The way he plays Yarmolenko out on the right, because for me, I almost feel like Yarmolenko's a little bit wasted there because every defender in world football knows what Yarmolenko's going to do when he's on the right hand side.
Apart from Rudiger when we beat Chelsea.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Still believes, but he always does, doesn't he? He always plays Yarmolenko on the right hand side. But I mean, to be honest, when we had the reverse fixture at London Stadium, that's probably Yarma's best game I've seen him. I saw him play. They sort of interchanged a little bit. There was a period yesterday where Yarma was going up front. Obviously, Yarma scored the goal of a header as well. So sort of poacher's goal. But I guessed out of the three of us on the West Ham Network, I guessed the most in the starting lineup, 9.
Really?
Unlike Stell, who decided to pick all the youngsters and none of them started. He did a whole video about it, bless him.
He was throwing in some under-12s as well, I think, Stell.
Well, I know. But yeah, it was. But he always does that, and he always plays one and the other. So in the midfield, so it's always Suchek or Rice and Noble. It's never going to be Noble and Kroll together really in Europe. But the job's done. We've done a game to spare. I would like to see Thursday after next, them throw some kids in the team as well.
Yeah, I think they will.
Yeah, I mean, because everyone's a lot of people bought their ticket already because they bought the 3 tickets, didn't they? So you're going to get a good, it's going to be a nice game, no pressure. It'd be great to see someone like Sonny play or Baptiste or a few others. But to be honest, there's actually a lot of people who need games anyway in the first team. There's probably going to be about 3 or 4 positions up for grabs for a youth team player, really. But
it'd be lovely, and especially when you look at all of the fixture congestion, the fixture pile up in the Premier League, because there's loads of fixtures coming up. Plus, we've got the quarterfinal against Spurs. I think Sonny Perkins, who came on yesterday, I think he actually looked quite useful for the small amount of time we saw. He was really busy. He worked really hard. He was, that
was a golden opportunity, though, wasn't it?
It was a golden opportunity, but it's literally the first touch of the game. He's been on the pitch for a couple of seconds, and it was a solid header. He read the flight of the ball. It was a solid header. It was a great save by the keeper. You know, half an inch either way, the keeper don't save it. So it's fine margins, isn't it? I think going back to your point about Yarmolenko, the pace of European football suits Yarmolenko down to the ground. When he scored that goal, he had been switched into a central role. And then he won the penalty straight after. And then in the second half, Moyes put him back out on the wing again. Right. So go figure. With Bowen has got to put some of those chances away.
Oh yeah.
Really
if he could kind of, if he was clinical, he'd be on about 50 goals this year, I think.
He's
a brilliant player.
I think it's an issue. I think it's a slight issue with the whole team anyway. We're always, you know, creating chances. There's no worry about that. But we just don't seem to have a clinical finisher, really. I mean, even Antonio, you know, he'll score one and then 3 or 4 will go in rows head. So
you know, I think you're right there. I think a lot of the times, a lot of our attacking players, they seem to be snatching at shots a lot. But that comes from the fact that, you know, none of them are real strikers, so they get that opportunity. It's a bit of a, you know, whereas a nice striker, calm striker will just roll it into the corner or something like that. You know, we've got a lot of players that lash at it. You know, I'm not having a go at them, but I think you can see that. You know what I mean?
But the thing is, I think when you look at the stats, I mean, we'll get back to the game again, but we had a bit of a debate around. I like Ivan Toney, but we had a bit of a debate around Ivan Toney on Facebook the other day about how much better he would be for West Ham than Mikel Antonio. And my argument back was, I'm not doubting that Ivan Toney is a good player. But when you look at the situation, he's come up to the Premier League. He's got the surprise element where defenders don't really know him. He plays in the front two more or less as well with that Mbeumo. So he's not on his own. And he's played 12 games and scored 3 goals. Antonio scored 6 and he plays up front on his own.
Also, don't forget,
you know,
the example is Pukki, who played for Norwich, right? Last time Norwich were in the Premier League, Pukki, everyone was raving on about Pukki, about how good he was. He was scoring every week. And suddenly the defenders watch the videos, the managers watch the videos, it works out how to deal with him. Guy never got a single other goal. Now, Tony has gone through the same curve. Good start. Now let's see what happens. So to call him out on his first couple of games and say he's better than Antonio, what are people drinking?
It's madness. It's madness. It really. I think you do often get that with West Ham, though, don't you? I think there's still an element of the fan base that are not fully appreciative of what we've got.
Well, it's the same as the Vlasic issue. I mean, you know, for all intents and purposes, Vlasic was money earmarked for Lingard, and I think everyone sort of. You know, do
you think that's why people are sort of almost to a degree? Some people are turning on him as well.
I think there's a little bit about it because at the end of the day, it was, you know, Lingard has made such an impact, and Vlasic, you know, to spend a lot of money for him, people must have thought, well, Christ, if we were going to spend that much money on Lingard, but actually we're diverting it for this lad who's younger, you know, he's on paper. He does seem a better prospect because he might have a selling on fee and stuff as well. It's not going to be money that's thrown down the toilet, so to speak, at the time. And I mean, yesterday he played probably the best game he can play. I think he just needs games. We gave Benny loads of games, so that's for me.
He did. I mean, I've been backing it. I've been backing him up the whole way through. I got a bit frustrated with him after the Wolves game because that did frustrate me. Because
has he?
No, I have been backing Vlasic up. But that last game though, when he came on, I think that. Because I think for a player like Vlasic, that Wolves game, that's a perfect opportunity for a player like him to come and stamp his authority on it. And I almost feel like sometimes, and it is his confidence, he didn't assert himself well enough in that game. He does a lot of running, but I think there's more there to see. And I feel like we're not seeing it from him. And that was a really good, solid game. I was pleased with it. It was a lovely cross, wasn't it, for Yarmolenko?
Yeah, it really was. It really was.
You know,
I think. The only thing I'd say, I think the thing with Vlasic is that, you know, he has come from an overseas league. Obviously, we know he had a stint at Everton, but it was hardly any minutes. There was hardly any minutes in those 12 appearances. So the Premier League is new to him again, you know, so you've got to give him a bit of time. I mean, the Rapid Vienna game, really, I know you can only beat what's in front of you, but they were no test. So again, you know, I know you can only play what's in front of you, but we don't want to get too carried away with some of the players, you know what I mean? Like, you know, I love Noble and he had a good game, but I don't really think he should get another year's contract.
No, but I'll tell you what. I'm going to give you the stage here, John. Talk about Noble. How do you feel like he played?
Well, I mean, I'm not a massive fan of like Jamie O'Hara and that, but if you listen to his rant on Sky Sports last night, he actually mentioned West Ham Whether that's because we've been giving him a lot of abuse on social media over the last few months or not, but he was laying into the Tottenham players, Doherty and then Dembele and all that, and saying there's no effort here. And he said, if you look at West Ham, I'm looking at the other screen here. West Ham have pretty much already qualified. They've got their B team out. He said, and you've got 35-year-old Mark Noble running around like it's like it means so much to him, and that's all you want from your players. People can rant and rave about Noble as much as they want, and his legs are gone and all that. I'm sick of saying the same thing. He probably knows that himself, if he's honest.
I think he gives it his all, and that's what we want from him, isn't it?
Yeah.
He was really good yesterday, and
I'll be honest.
It was beautiful to see him to see him suck that penalty away, wasn't it?
Did someone say? I think someone put a tweet out like it's his 15th consecutive season he's scored a goal or something like ridiculous like that.
Yeah, I read that.
Yes, I think Rob
read
did
something similar. Yeah,
that's amazing.
Bloody hell. But a couple of the other players as well. I suppose talking about potential issues that we've got against Wolves. One of the things that I took away from that game, not as in a bad performance, but it was a bad performance, but it was down to positioning. I think was Zuma. He looked like he was struggling on that left-hand side. Now I don't know whether that was a lot of people are blaming Dawson because they're saying Dawson had a bad game that created uncertainty for Zuma. I'm struggling with that. I just think that we had a discussion a little while ago, and I think you said, John, didn't you? You don't think it should make a difference what side they play on. It clearly does make a difference.
Yeah, I mean, I'll get a little bit. I mean, with centre backs, they're not down the wing whipping in crosses on the left or the right foot, are they? Right. So they've only got to be really, competent with their left or their weaker foot, whatever it may be. I think there's a big, a big focus on if they're a left-sided, right-sided. I mean, I get they may have a more comfortable position, but in terms of what foot they are, I don't think that generally should matter. No, I don't know if I'm being a bit blasé about it. I don't know if
I'm not. There must be a little bit more to it than that because Zuma we've seen what an outstanding player he was, and he looked really like shaky in that game. He didn't look happy at all. And I personally can't blame Dawson for that because there were certain things that he did, like that back pass. That weren't Dawson's fault. No, that was it.
No,
he looked a bit rattled, bless him. So what I did, I mean, what I'm trying to get to is how do we think Diop did in that left back spot yesterday? I know he weren't really tested, but do we think that we could be about to see against Man City? Because I think that is a game as well after Areola's performance against Man City in the Cup, where he was like Superman. Do you think he could get a league start here against Man City with that French triangle that everyone's talking about? Do you think we could actually see it?
No, I don't think you'll see the full French triangle. I think you'll see a French line between. I think Diop and Zuma will both play.
Yeah, okay. So you think that will happen?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I just think Craig's great. I think I mean, he came in and to be honest, I'm just thinking back to that Liverpool game when Craig Dawson came on. He did go onto the right and then Zuma went onto the left, if I remember anyway, because I distinctly remember.
Yeah, you're right. He did. He shifted over.
So Zuma has played that position before, but then again, Moyes is very loyal to players, isn't he? And the fact is, I mean, I think it's a flip of a coin between whether he plays Diop or Dawson. I think he'll play Diop. I just think he has played really well the games he's played. He's been unlucky, I think, to not to basically have had a Bonner and Zuma in front of him. To be honest, I think he would have played a lot more games.
I agree. Sorry, John, go on.
Do you think that Dawson, the experience he had of being in the winning team against City in the Cup, may play anything into him being picked? Because City had a strong team at that day, as we know. So it wasn't no second string at all, was it, for them? And I thought Dawson was immense that night, amongst others.
He was.
So maybe that might play into Moyes' thoughts that Dawson's been in the team, part of the team that beat him in the Cup. Maybe, possibly.
Yeah, no, it is interesting. It is interesting. I mean, we know he's going to play left back. What about right back? Soufal played well. Does Johnson hold his place down? I mean, we'll get into Man City after, but do you think Johnson has kind of held his place in that? He looked good, didn't he, Soufal? I think
Soufal played like a player trying to get back into the first team.
He did, yeah. He did look good.
And the first 20-25 minutes, he was doing what Soufal does, and actually, you look at him and go, God, he gets forward quite well. He gets forward a lot better maybe than Ben Johnson
Yeah.
does at times. But I think there's that pace element which always worries me with
Yeah.
Soufal. He's not, positionally, he's not going to lose anyone. But if he leaves a bit of space behind him, and say a Sterling runs behind him, he ain't got a chance. Well, at least Johnson might have half a chance against him. So I think Johnson keeps his place for the Man City game, and maybe Soufal goes back in for Brighton.
I would say so. Well, I think should we call a man of the match for that game? Who was your man of the match? We'll wrap that one up.
Go on,
Gary?
Russ. Let Russ go. He's
Go on,
thinking
Russ.
deeply.
I'm thinking very deeply. Man of the match. I don't really know. I think everyone played well. It was just a professional game, very professional. We did the job. We did what was needed. I'm gonna say, you see, until he went off as a sub, I was gonna say Masuaku.
Oh, Masuaku! Oh, Stel will be fuming.
Well, don't tell Stel, for God's sake.
Because I thought because some of his crossing was great.
He looked good.
Lanzini had a good game. He did have a good game.
I thought Lanzini was excellent.
Yeah,
that would be my pick.
We'll give it to Lanzini.
Yeah, that would be my
Lanzini.
pick. I think he looked really good. He controlled the game. I love the way Lanzini looked so comfortable in tight spaces.
Yeah.
Really
no, I agree. No, he was very good. Here we are. Evening,
Right.
Gatesy. Right. Okay. Shall we breeze into the news, Gary? Are you?
Let's do that. Hang on a minute. I'm almost prepared.
You're so nasally.
I know. I am, aren't I?
You're so nasally.
Right. Welcome everyone to Claret and Booze News. So 4 stories this week, a couple of small ones and a couple of bigger ones. We're going to start off with, we've already covered the Rapid Vienna game, but as you know, we are group stage winners, which is nothing short of marvellous, with the mighty West Ham putting it to bed with 1 game to spare, beyond my wildest dreams, frankly. Moving forward, we've got one meaningless group game against Zagreb, where we hopefully see the youth team play. Moyes said he wants to win that game, I assume because it might be something to do with European ranking or something like that. He doesn't want to just throw it. But anyway, the last 16 2-legged matches will be played next March, which means we get a well-earned rest from competitive European football for 4 months. But before the last 16 takes place, there'll be a round of 24, taking place in February, where the 8 third-place teams in the Champions League groups face off against the 8 second-place Europa League teams in a 2-legged playoff. There are a number of potential glamour ties available to us. As the Champions League enters its final stage, Dortmund are already confirmed in the Europa playoffs, as could be AC Milan and Barcelona, so some very big names. Also in the playoffs, Rangers, that'd be a tasty one, and potentially Felipe Anderson's Lazio, which would be another tasty one. So they could either win their group or make the playoffs. So it's all looking very promising, very exciting. And I think while I'd love an easy draw in the last 16, wouldn't be the end of the world if we got a glamour tie, would it? So who do you blokes think? Who would you like? Let's just leave this slide up on the screen for a minute. Let's go through. So the confirmed winners of the groups already in through are Lyon, Leverkusen, and West Ham. Yeah. The ones to be decided, obviously, in the second column. The ones who are already confirmed from Europa qualified into the playoffs are Rangers and Betis. And the ones confirmed from the Champions League are Dortmund, Sheriff, and Zenit. Right. The rest, if you look at it, there's some quite big names in there. There's also some quite big names who can go out as well. So on that basis, who would you like? Russ.
Barcelona.
Same as me.
Yeah.
I love them.
They're my La
Liga. They're my La Liga team. We've got to play them sometime, innit? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're my La Liga team. They always have been for many years. I've had my stag do there, and I love Barcelona, and I think they're a good time to play them as well because they're not doing very well at the moment. So it's a glamour tie with a possibility of winning. Similarly, I wouldn't mind us play Real Betis, the Pellegrini derby. That could be interesting. But I think
I'm going to be ignorant here. Is he at Betis? Pellegrini?
He's at Real Betis.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that at all.
So I wouldn't mind it. And also Spanish fans a little bit. Any of the Italian ones. We're already on a knife edge already in terms of any crowd trouble again. So a Lazio Hello.
Yeah, I know.
That's just asking for trouble.
Yeah, but we're friends with him, aren't we?
We are. But
Yeah.
it's still in the middle.
I think Rangers could be worse though, couldn't it?
Yeah,
I mean,
Rangers. Yeah. So Barcelona, I think, is a,
that'd be brilliant because the thing is, you want to face the big teams. You do.
Yeah.
Jay, there's only one team that I want to avoid. Who do you reckon it is? If you can call it, just Leicester. I want to avoid Leicester.
Yeah, it'd be boring, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It's not even there. I think they know us. At least these
Yeah,
other
it'd be boring.
European.
Does he know each other too well?
Yeah.
I would like. I mean, I agree with you on Barcelona, but I'd also love to play AC Milan. I'd like to go to the San Siro.
Or Dortmund, just because of the craziness, about their fans, and they've got a real just going away to Dortmund would be amazing.
Yeah,
Haaland versus Dawson. That'd be interesting.
Oh, the glamour partnership. Yeah, exactly.
So, John, who do you want? You haven't said.
I'm not. I don't think there's anyone that are particularly. They're all glamorous ties, aren't they? Within, I mean, when you look at, like, I know we can go back in history, but in my life, looking at that table you've produced there, seeing us with some of them names is like, what I mean? That's enough in itself. Do you know what I mean?
It's impressive, isn't it?
But it's impressive, exactly that. But like you said, let's be honest. If you got any of the obvious big ones, Dortmund, Milan, Barcelona, Lazio, I wouldn't fancy anyone Turkish though. I wouldn't fancy any of that. I don't think I'd fancy Galatasaray or anything like that.
Yeah.
For trouble, Rangers, yes, that's got the element of trouble. But
although I wouldn't like that, so would you?
Atletico Madrid.
Although would you not like that, Tyler? Would you not like? I'd like to get Rangers. I think
I'd like it, but you'd worry about the obvious, wouldn't you? That's what you'd be.
Yeah.
Try to pick a club on there where there wouldn't be trouble. I mean, not being funny. What was it? Salzburg.
Well,
that's where
I reckon Michelak, their Danish team.
Danish, they're not troublesome. They're all right, the Danes.
Scandinavians, they're all right.
They're always happy. The happiest place to live.
I'd say it's crazy though, isn't it? And do you know the other thing as well? Now we're in that last 16. Is that right? I think we've said this before, but the actual the last 16 games, they start in March, don't they?
Yeah.
And we could, if we do beat Spurs, if we do go through to the semi-finals, we could conceivably be because the finals in February. We could be champions already. We could be League Cup champions before we even go to that last 16.
Those cup winners. Love it.
How good would that be?
in the back
You've
pocket.
already won the Betway Cup, though. You forget about that.
I know.
I know.
Gordon Tumple is still on, but yeah.
It's gone to his head. It's gone to Nick's head. This success has gone to his head. Mate.
Just forgets about the smaller trophies.
Right. So we're going to move on to news story number 2, which is the sinister-looking Daniel Kretinsky. As reported in the Standard today and based upon documents submitted to Company's House, Daniel Kretinsky has agreed the right to buy David Sullivan's stake for a pre-agreed price 18 months from now. That's a pre-agreed price per share. This means surely the end of the GSB era is nigh. And so I want to be the first to say, #Kretinsky out. I never liked him. Do you think this is a good thing? Do you think this is a good thing? We're going to see finally at some point. And I've got divided loyalties on this because I quite like David Gold. So for me, it might be SB out rather than GSB out. And I appreciate you work for the club as well, Russ. So you can't be too outspoken about this. Yeah. But by way of kind of unifying the fans and bringing the fan base together, perhaps bringing some of the old fans back or something like that. Will this do that? Are they going to put the crap about the stadium to bed? Put that in the past, new owners, and move on? Or are they going to keep, bashing the same drum?
I think to be honest, throughout, and I've said this quite a lot when we talk about it, is we've never, in terms of success, in terms of ownership, in 66 we had 3 of the best players in the world. We never won the league, and we've continually not had success. I think with Kretinsky coming in, I mean, it shows that to me it shows there's willingness in terms of the investment. It shows also to me that there's willingness to potentially move on. I mean, obviously the documents that have been submitted to Company's House are pretty standard documents. Basically it's an agreed price with all the shareholders, not just Mr. Sullivan, but the others as well. I believe they've all got in terms of selling shares to Krasinski. Obviously, he would need to get rid of his shares of Sparta Prague as well, because he wouldn't be able to own both, and we'd be chucked out. Or one of us would be chucked out at UEFA competitions. That because of that. So it gives him a couple of years. We always assumed 2023 was when things would change. It made sense. You're not going to sell something and lose money on it. If it's just. We wouldn't do the same. If you was on eBay and someone offered you £2 for something that's up for a tenner, you're not going to take it. You're going to wait to get your £10. So I think it shows light at the end of the tunnel for some people. It might, but for me, I just think it just shows that West Ham are now a really attractive club for people to come on board with now. Not just for owners, but for players. Players didn't want to join us last year and now are quite open to join us this year because we're an attractive team. I think it's a bit strange that they've agreed the price already, because if we got into if we won the Champions League and the Premier League in the next three seasons, he's got a bargain, Krasinski. So in the same way, we could be relegated next year, and Krasinski's got to pay a lot more above the odds. So it's a bit of it is what it is with West Ham. But I think it's good for the fans, just because it shows some progression. But
no, I'd agree with that. Go on, Nick.
Yeah, no. I agree. I think hopefully it'll put a lot of this to bed now. Because it's quite clearly the guy is going to buy the club. He is, isn't he? It is going to happen. So hopefully all of this can be kind of put to one side now. You do get the feeling anyway that Gold and Sullivan over the past few years since we've started improving again, they've been less sort of prominent in the media. They've kind of I almost feel a little bit like they've stepped back a little bit anyway in that sense to a degree. So it would be nice, and it is nice now that we're in such a positive place on the pitch, and hopefully now everyone that's connected to West Ham now can hopefully just relax and just kind of not have any more grizzle for a little
enjoyable,
while.
Isn't it? It's to be fair, until everything that the world turned on its head like 18 months ago, it was a hostile place. It wasn't nice to go to, and people were seeing it like a chore. Maybe for the last 3 years they saw going to West Ham like a chore. I bought my season ticket, I've got to go, and that's horrible. Now with everything that's gone in, I think people have just reevaluated themselves, their values, what they want in life as well. And it's getting a bit deep, but and so I think people are clucking to get back to the stadium, and and because the team have played well, they've got a team they're proud of now, and it's the happiest I've seen West Ham. I mean, this is my 21st season now working at the club, and it's probably the happiest I've seen everyone. Just from and the collectiveness of the team and the management and behind the scenes and the club itself. It just seems to be all pointing in the right direction rather than being sneaky around the back or whatever, so to speak.
Bang on the money. I mean, I've loved it since we've gone back. All right, I've moved to the lower tier, and so it's a lovely place to be behind the goal where I used to be. But that aside, I missed it so much after, going for all those years. I mean, season ticket holder for God knows how many years, and to suddenly have that hole and not be able to go and watch them, especially when they were doing so well. I think built up everyone's appetite, and I think people started to look at that stadium as for what it is. It's just a stadium. Yeah, it's just a stadium, and it's actually quite aesthetically pleasing now. Now they've started tightening it up a bit, and the atmosphere in there can be really good because the atmosphere comes from fans, not from a building.
Totally right. And after that Liverpool game, I mean, we went to Supporters Club afterwards. That's what we do. Obviously, we go to Supporters Club after the game and do some live reaction interviews. And people were basically saying that's the reason why we moved.
Yeah.
That game, you could not have had that Liverpool atmosphere at Upton Park. You wouldn't have. You just wouldn't have. You had twice as many people, everyone put in the right direction, everyone singing almost in unison sometimes. I've never seen that happen. And the team responded. And so, look, it's taken a while. Might have taken maybe 5 years, 4 years longer than we thought it would be. But I think we're starting to see some rewards for that now, and that's why I thought yesterday was so crap, because it went back to an empty stadium, and
it was awful, wasn't it?
You went, oh God, this is shit,
horrible.
And it's like BT Sport deleted all the files with the crowd noise. They couldn't bother to put them on again. It's like, for fuck's sake, you surely must have them somewhere on a backup.
Do you know what? It is a must, isn't it? Whenever that happens again, they've got to have that simulated crowd noise. They've got to. It's not great.
Right.
But What about you, John? Are you?
Yeah, I think it's interesting what Russ said about the whole going to West Ham became a bit of a chore. Like I've been taking my son. My son's had a season ticket since he was 4, so I took him Upton Park. And when we moved to the London Stadium, it was a big effort. Whether I chose to come by train or whether we parked up and did a 15-20 minute walk, it always became a bit of a chore. And I think you're right. I think the COVID season, or whatever you want to refer to it as, because we suddenly performed so well and we couldn't be there, it whet our appetite again. It was like almost starting afresh. And I think the excitement now, all right, it's obviously aligned along the fact that we're doing so well, but just getting back over there. My son was saying, when we're going to go back, Whereas before, he was sort of getting a bit like, oh, can we go and watch Dagenham and Redbridge instead? Because it's more local. You know what I mean? It was the effort involved. Now he can't wait. Now more so, but when it all happened, we couldn't wait to get over there. So it raises your atmosphere over there straight away. And I think you're right. I think as much as Upton Park had some great occasions and some great atmosphere, you could never replicate what happened at Liverpool because you just couldn't, because the numbers. And that's we'd love to think we could have, but And
it's the same with like, obviously I'm fortunate enough, obviously, what I do and stuff. So I do talk to ex-players and stuff. A lot of them about the ambassadors, the match day ambassadors they call them, and talking to them, and obviously we had Slates on the channel the other day, and I was asking him what's it like, because obviously I'm not in the lounges or anything, and I guess honestly it's a piece of piss now considering where we were before. When we were shit and losing, people were. I'd come in and they'd be shouting at me that the drinks ain't turned up, or someone's didn't get Dauphinoise, they got roast potato, I don't know, but and he says now. Honestly, you sit there and be like, it's like, oh, my drink delayed that way. I'll be here in a minute. It's just everyone's so much more relaxed. He goes, it's so easy now because all they want to do is just talk about the team and, rather than shouting at you. So
last season, or the season before, it would have been, oi, Slater, you used to be quite nippy down the wing. Get off and get my Dauphinoise, can you?
Yeah. Dauphinoise, please.
You know what? A couple of seasons ago, Geezer beyond me made a comment because my son dared to buy some popcorn, right?
Oh, really?
Oh, blimey, really?
Now the same geezer the same guy would probably buy him a box himself,
He's going over and taking a handful.
He's probably like, do you want some popcorn?
I never got stuff like that. I mean, so what? Popcorn, you don't have to buy it, do you?
But it's the same now as obviously now in the night games we have all the light show and the fire and stuff like that, and I love it. And I know some people don't like it, Nigel can't, but it's traditionalist and non-traditionalist, isn't it? And as I said, John's kids probably loves the firework display, and he gets his phone out and and we're doing more and more of that. There's going to be more and more of that coming on, particularly every night game we're doing it. And there's some slightly different things we're trying to do as well with that, because we've got all that stuff in there now. We didn't have it before. We had just normal bulbs. Now we've got LEDs. We can do all clever stuff like that now. But I love all that stuff.
It looks brilliant.
It's why we moved.
So Russ, on those European nights, obviously you've got just coming up to the climax where you start pumping up the music and there's a bit of a mix going on. Are you there live on the decks, just sort of mixing as you go, or is there a bit of a pre-recorded mix going on there? Is there a live?
Well, as I'm
from one song into another, didn't you?
As I'm affectionately known as the Button Monkey by more than just a podcast, by Messrs. Canningtown Len, Shedman, and Sean. To be honest, we've got CDs, and I've got my CDs, I've got my iPad, and that's all I do. But I don't give a shit. Because it means
you're not on the old sort of Technics 1210s.
No, I'm not on the 1210s. I'm not mixing it in. I'm not sampling anything. It's very, very easy, and I don't care because I can sit there and watch a game, and I haven't had to pay to go to watch that game where I know they have. So I don't care, and I've got really good view.
You know when they walk out on European nights, they don't walk out to bubbles, do they?
Not allowed to. No, that's UEFA stuff. So basically, UEFA. I don't know. So literally, we play bubbles. So we do like the light show, then we play bubbles, and then where we would have bubbles, they have this certain. It's like their version of. It's like the Europa League's version of the Champions.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah,
it's called Anticipation or something like that. It's called the song's called, and then it goes into the lineup. Yeah, exactly. And it goes into the lineup music, which is exactly the same. I think it's exactly the same, but they tell me it's a different track, but I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't like that. But
it's the same as the screens. We can't really do much. It's all like where we have a lot of West Ham like content and videos and stuff like that for like a for a Premier League game, or it's all UEFA led and all the digiboards. And that's fair enough. That's what you get, because that's why they pay. That's why Hammock pay loads of money to advertise, and various other companies. And but it always excites me. You walk up and you see, like, you know, you walk around and all the signs are Europa League signs, and I
love it.
I love it. Honestly, it just feels so
really
like
love it. I think they've done such a good job of. I hated it when they split up all the old tournaments, the Cup Winners' Cup, because it was Legacy, and the UEFA Cup, and the European Cup became the Champions League and everything else. But I think finally they've hit upon a recipe of the three compatible tournaments in the Conference League, the Europa League, and
but you know what, the Europa League now isn't the bottom one, and I think that
no. But that's what I'm saying. The Europa League actually is quite a major competition now. Again, like it used to be, right? It's got some cachet back. Champions League is what it is, but even the Conference League, I don't mind. I think it's all right. You know, no. It's got a lovely looking trophy. It ain't like the Inter 2 Bob. You know, the little tiny cup. I like the way the tournaments. I thought this was crap a few years ago, because I thought it was like you're turning the old UEFA Cup into a Champions League consolation tournament, but now it flows down between all three competitions. I think that's actually really good. I think that's really good.
And the sort of the prize isn't, obviously, you know, you win the conference and you go into the Europa League, when Europa League goes to the Champions League, and so you know there's an incentive which, you know, which just I don't understand why Tottenham are doing what Tottenham are doing. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's the easiest way.
Russ, do you know, if they win the Europa Conference League, they go into the Europa, but they don't go into the Europa.
No.
They have to start playing football in July to start playing.
They go to the qualifying. I know, but look, at the end of the day, I'm not glass houses and stones and greenhouses. You know, for things to be clipped up.
Yeah, we're going in hard on Tottenham. We always do.
Yeah.
Oh, right, who brought this up? Here we go.
We're going to move on to the next news story, and this is about Nick's hero, Sebastian Haller. So Sebastian Haller, just as a refresher, joined Manuel Pellegrini's West Ham in the big spending summer of 2019 to rave reviews from excited punters, albeit we overpaid for him, 45 million against his market value of 36 million at the time. He had a great start, and the team were flying. He scored 4 goals and provided 1 assist in his first 7 games. Sadly, though, he went on to net only 3 more times the rest of the season, even though he started 24 games and came on from the bench in another 8. David Moyes came in December 2019, and he played Haller 36 times in total, 12 times from the bench, and he was subbed off 3 times. He scored 9 goals for Moyes, and in total returned 14 goals from 39 starts and 15 substitute appearances. So he didn't really play for us that many times, actually. Towards the end of his time, he appeared to be labouring, and though we all wanted him to be successful, he just wasn't. Whether that was the way Moyes and Pellegrini used him, or if it was his style, didn't suit the Premier League, or as many people thought, he just gave up playing for us. As a reflection of how poor he became for us, his chances of playing for France, a country he had represented in 6 different age groups from under 16 to under 21, he gave up on them and elected to play for the Ivory Coast instead, made his debut for them in November 2020. He then moved to Ajax for a ridiculously low price of 20 million, albeit at the time, there were absolutely no other takers other than Ajax. He looked like a busted flush, and so Sullivan had Ajax's hands off and didn't even bother with a sell-on clause. Since then, in typical West Ham fashion, Haller has taken Ajax and the Champions League by storm. For Ajax, he scored 18 goals in 19 matches, plus 5 assists this season, following the 17 in 26 and 8 assists he got last season. He scored 9 goals in the Champions League group stage, part of a very select small group of players who have managed to do this. So in the wrong circumstances, he's probably the poor man's Ian Dowie. But in the right environment with a system that suits him, he turns into Ibrahimovic plus. So what went wrong? And who do you blame? And we go, obviously, first to Nick.
Loving you. Personally, I've actually commented on one of Russ's shows before, so I know that Russ agrees with me on this. I do think it was done, and I do think that he had to go when he went, because I feel like I think Haller was a victim of circumstance, a little bit like Anderson. I think, you know, it's like when something goes bad and it goes sour and you have a bad experience, you want out, you want a new start. And I think his time at West Ham was done. And the point that I made on Russ's show was that, and I do believe it, I think if David Moyes signed Haller now, we'd be looking at a different prospect.
Yeah.
I do believe that. I just think you know what it's like. I think he obviously we had COVID. It got bought by Pellegrini. There was a management change. You know, the Pellegrini season went to shit. He looked quite good when he first come in, Haller. You know, we was all quite impressed by him.
Yeah.
And it just all went to shit. And it weren't his fault. It went to shit. But the trouble is, when you've got a £45 million striker and you play for West Ham, everyone looks at the so-called star, and they point fingers at them when things ain't going right. And I think he copped a lot of the blame. But like I say, I will go back to I don't subscribe to the fact that people keep on saying he was no good for the Premier League. He needs to play in the Farmers League. He's found his level. He's proved now. He's proved that is not the case. Right. He is a good player, and like I say, it's done. But it is typical. I can't believe it's one thing selling him after 18 months for under half what we fucking bought him for, but then to not include a sell-on clause is mental. It's mental. It genuinely is, because I don't think he's going to be at Ajax long. I think he's tearing it up, and he is tearing it up. He ain't going to be there.
The reason this is a news story is because this week he made the headlines as being one of the very few players to score 9 goals or more.
He's the first. He's the first.
Is he the first?
Yeah,
I thought he was one of a small group.
No, he's the first.
No,
there you go, record breaker.
Yeah.
But if you go back, Nick, nobody else wanted Haller. It was only Ajax.
Yeah, I know, but what I'm saying is, look, then what you've got to do is, because, and I personally feel that this does also put a little bit of pressure on Moyes. I love Moyes. He's been brilliant. He's doing a great job, and long may it continue, and he always will. But they don't get it right all the time. And what I think that this does is puts a lot of pressure on Moyes for his next striker signing. I think it does. I think it puts a lot of pressure on him because, you know, it does.
He didn't sign him. He didn't sign him. Haller was Pellegrini's mess.
He played a lot of games under Moyes. Yeah, Gary just gave out the facts there and the stats. Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is
not so much under Moyes. He didn't.
He did. He played quite a few games.
Did he not have enough? Did he not have enough time to turn it around? Did he not have enough time to get his head right? If the situation with Pellegrini and whatever happened there sort of put him off playing for us, surely as a player, new manager coming in, it's like a fresh start. No, and it's up to you.
I just think if there is a criticism of Haller, it's the fact that he's a conventional striker. That's his game. That's how he plays. If you're trying to get him to be Antonio, that will never work. And Antonio is not a conventional striker. And I do feel like that is what he was being measured against. So whenever he came on, we're like, oh, look, he's not chasing the fullback halfway up the pitch. Well, no, he's not going to, is he? You know, it's not what he does.
Yeah, true.
What do you reckon, Russ?
I think, as you said, it's something of circumstance. I think by the time Moyes came in, I think, you know, he wasn't happy already, and it takes a lot to change a player. I mean, you know, not everyone has the personality of someone like Fornals, who we bought as a number 10, and Moyes converted him into this sort of box-to-box player. And, you know, you can tell he wasn't a Moyes player. He didn't pass his MOT test. And there was a reason why, you know, almost the first things he did was send out Anderson on loan and you know, almost accept half the money back for Haller. You know, he wanted these guys out. He wanted his own men in. I totally agree. If we'd bought him in, if Moyes had picked him as his man, you would see the player that we're playing at Ajax. I really think he is. There was no doubt his quality. There was no doubt, you know, there was flashes of brilliance. You don't become a shit player overnight. He was ripping it up for Frankfurt beforehand. The reason why I think Ajax came calling was because of the manager. The manager played with him when he was at is it FC Utrecht, yeah. So he knew him, so it was easy. And obviously and unfortunately Haller's pedigree was somewhat tainted because of his West Ham. You know, no Premier League club were going to touch him, and so he was only going to go abroad. And so, you know, I mean, there was talk of was it yesterday or day before of Liverpool looking at him, bringing him back. You know, and so, but then Liverpool playing a 3, so. Actually,
that would suit Haller, wouldn't it?
He would actually just tear it up in that position.
Yeah. So you think but you're basically you all think that he was almost too far gone for when Moyes come in already.
He was too far gone.
So even Moyes, who gets the best out of players who've got something to prove, couldn't change him.
I think a lot of people have maybe been in that situation. I mean, where you've been somewhere and you feel like, fuck this, I need a change. I don't like this at all. You know, I need to get out. And I think that's where he was. And like I say, he was a backup to Antonio. He weren't at the and that probably pissed him off because
that must have been insulting for him. That must have been insulting.
Yeah. So look, it is a shame. Good luck to him. I'm sorry. I actually feel sorry for him because if, like I say, he hasn't turned his nose up at West Ham. I just think he had a fucking awful experience at West Ham.
Yeah,
that's personally what I think. I think that's what happened. You know, and it's a shame for us because we still haven't replaced him. I
think there's just one mistake made. I mean, look, two mistakes. Number one, we bought a player that didn't fit our system, and that goes for Pellegrini and Moyes, right? You know, Moyes didn't use him in the right way, but then again, Moyes just inherited him, so I don't blame him. I blame Pellegrini because he could have signed someone that did suit our system. And secondly, the second biggest screw up was no sell-on clause.
Yeah, that was obscene.
That was a mistake. But then nobody else wanted him, so Ajax had us by the nuts, really, didn't they?
Yeah. We need to get rid of him, and it just worked as a deal. And sometimes it just work. And you know, in retrospect, maybe clearly we should have had a bloody sell-on clause on there because it just shows, you know. But for some reason, they didn't. Maybe it was probably just wanted them out. The deal done.
And I think in Holland they do sell a lot of their players, don't they? They get a lot of money for their players, and I think that could have been the one thing that delayed getting him out of the club. They could have just said, "Well, we don't want to have a sell-on clause. How desperate for you to get rid of him," and that's it, really. So it wasn't a lack of financial management or financial understanding. It was more of a necessity. We need him gone, you know.
Yeah, and give him Moyes a pat on the back as well. I think that what has been integral to our success is team spirit. And I think what you are looking at Tottenham is the opposite of team spirit, and that is a club that refuses to let people that are not happy go. They keep hold of them, they keep on extending their contracts, and then you end up with this collection of basket cases. So Moyes made a big decision. I'm sure he knew his ability. He's not stupid. I'm sure he knew what his ability was, but it wasn't working for Moyes, and it weren't good for the harmony. It weren't good for the player, and it weren't good for the club. So in one respect, it's frustrating, and I'm frustrated by it. But in the other sense, we didn't get worse after he went. We got better. It worked for everyone. That deal worked for everyone.
It did. It was perfect time.
Yeah. So,
but anyway, look, Nick, just one more thing on that. Turn the page, for Christ's sake. Right. So
get over it, for God's sake.
News story number 4. Following a thumping by Watford, Ollie at the wheel was sacked and replaced by interim manager Michael Carrick. That was last week. This week, there's another interim manager coming in the shape of the German, the Professor, Ralf Rangnick, as Man United set their sights on getting Pochettino in from PSG in the summer. You can never have too many managers, in their opinion. So poor Jesse was promised regular football by Ollie, but he was left on the bench. Then Carrick left him on the bench. I assume Rangnick will leave him on the bench as well. But you never know, I guess. Either way, Rangnick's promises will only be valid until the end of the season anyway. And so I expect Jesse to see through any sort of potential sweeteners that might come his way. So we need Jesse. Contrary to popular belief when we were flying high a few weeks ago, we need Jesse, his attitude, his approach to football, his finishing, the way he fits into the squad. You know, he's a good character to have around, and very valuable, very good goal scorer as well. Terrific attacking midfielder. Suits us down to the ground. And I personally think these several changes in leadership, that will see him want to get the hell out of there sooner rather than later. So I think this makes it more likely that he's going to join West Ham, not less. What do you think, John?
Yeah, I think Agent Carrick leaving him on the bench again the other day is it's definitely, you know, you can say it's a change of management, but Carrick and Solskjaer and the whole coaching staff, they was always in each other's ear. There was a very tight unit, or seemingly they were a very tight unit. And I'm sure if at any stage during the season already gone, if Carrick or Mike Phelan or any of those other guys would have gone, you know, I think you should give him a game, give him a start, he would have been in by now. So as much as Ole seems to be the nicest guy in football, you know. I mean, even doing the interview when he got sacked the other day, I've never seen a manager do that, really. But big respect to him for that, I suppose. But I just can't see how things are going to change for Lingard. There's obviously something wrong there. There's obviously a disliking for him, not as a person, but it might be a case of it's already too far, too gone for him already. In a certain way, I can't understand it. I know they've got a depth of riches that we haven't in the squad at Man United, but with the enthusiasm and the way he played for us at the end when he came last season, you thought they would have thrown him straight into the deep end. But obviously, when you buy a Cristiano, or when you get someone like Cristiano Ronaldo, who was probably a club buyer rather than a Solskjaer buyer, it disrupts the old apple cart and then changes maybe the ideas that you were going to have, because they signed him very late on, didn't they? And buying a player like that, don't care how old he is, he ain't going to want to come and sit on the bench. And I think he plays every game anyway. And I know he's still scoring, so I'm not blaming him. But that obviously puts him down the pecking order even more, Lingard. I think it's a shame. I don't think it's going to make a difference, and I still think it's a done deal, personally.
Yeah, I agree. I think, unfortunately for Lingard, I think he's another one. We were just talking about Haller. I think he's a victim of circumstance. Yeah. I think he's at the wrong club, because at the end of the day, people like Carrick, whoever runs Man United, Man United are not just a football team; they're a corporate machine. That's why Ronaldo was brought in to sell shirts. Yeah. I don't think that Jadon Sancho might have thought twice before that deal, because you look at all the players that are in that team. If Ronaldo had come in first, Sancho may not have made that move. So he could be the next Lingard. He could be. I know he played well the other night and he scored, but you look at these other players that are just being Van der Beek. When he went there, he was one of the brightest talents in Europe. Yeah. And it's not just Lingard. Unfortunately, they fucking ruin players. They do, and I think that the main. It's going to be a challenging job for whoever goes to Man United, because although you've got an embarrassment of riches, you've got probably a double mandate. You've got to win games, but you've got to be playing these players, and you've got to get the best out of them. You've got to be putting the pin-up boys on the pitch.
And a style of play as well. They want, don't they?
Style of play, yeah.
I was listening to, I went to Butlins in Bognor last week for the Soul Weekender, right, which was fantastic, right?
You got any moves? You brought any moves back? Have you?
First time I've ever done a weekender. We're going back for the 80s weekender next week, but on the way back, I was listening.
You're going back to Bognor? You're going back to Bognor again?
Yeah, we're going back for the 80s weekend next September. It's superb, I tell you. It's superb, brilliant. Right, so we're going. On the way back, I was listening to a phone in, because it was the day after Ollie had been sacked, and what some caller said was, no manager has ever been fired at Man United for after qualifying for the Champions League. Right? Managers have been fired after winning cups, but they haven't been fired after qualifying for the Champions League. So it shows you what the board's priorities are. Literally to finish fourth. That's it. Screw the silverware. I just want to finish fourth. And that just shows you what kind of club Man United are. So it ain't about the shirts. That's part of it, right? Part of it. But mainly it's the revenue from the Champions League.
Yeah. No, I agree. What do you think, Russ?
Yeah, I mean, Man United now seem like, remember, like with Chelsea back in the day when they used to buy all the British players like Scott Parker and stuff and just ruin them because never played them. They just bought up the players. And I mean, we all want Jesse back. That's why I wasn't too downhearted about the Wolves game last week, because
neither was I.
Because I came away thinking. Well, at the end of the day, Kudzinski's going to be looking at this team, and if we were still if we'd won that game and we were like joint second and come January, people are like, oh, maybe we don't need players, but it was clear we needed something different, something on the bench. We had nothing on the bench to make a difference. Where Jesse would have made a huge difference, I think, to that team. We all know he wants to come. I don't think the change in management makes any difference to him. As he said, his contract runs out in the summer, so Ralph's only going to be there for 6 months, and then. By all accounts, he then becomes director of football, I think, for 2 years, or what they were saying. If he hasn't got his number, he's not going to get his number for the next 2.5 years. And I think there'll be, I think you'll see a lot more of Jadon Sancho, because Ralph played in the Bundesliga, managing the Bundesliga. So there's that realization of and he's a good player, Jadon Sancho. So, Jesse's days are numbered there. They've been numbered since basically he went on loan to us, I think. And so, I would welcome him back with open arms because I think he's what we need. And obviously he could be joining at the same time as he joined last year when we needed that little bit of a energy boost. Not necessarily, we were still obviously riding high, but you just thought performances were just dipping a little bit, and he gave that on energy on and off the pitch as well, and that's what I think he brings. And so he needs games. He's got a year to get into the England squad for the World Cup.
Yeah, exactly. And he's first. You know, his need to play for England is what made him move in the first place, and you know, which is why it shocked me that he went back there and didn't just come to us. We don't know the ramifications or negotiations that happened, but you know, and he's in exactly the same position he was last year now, and it's a shame, you know. And I just want him to come in, hit the ground running. Like you said, he's coming at a great time, and also when we lose Benny to the African Nations thing as well. So he's coming in at the perfect time for us, you know. Yeah,
we need him, and he'll come in, and you know, and like that's what the advantage of us over a Newcastle is. It's not a relegation scrap. Yeah. It's a top 4, top 6, you know, battle. Yeah. So he'll get loads of prominence. He'll get loads of TV time, and you know, and we know Gareth Southgate likes picking teams that are doing well and in the top 4, top 5. And obviously, you know, traditionally we're not, but now we are. So it's a no-brainer for him. Absolute no-brainer for him.
Well, I don't think Jesse came to us out of some random selection. He came to us because he knew David Moyes, right? And he'd already spent time with him. And David Moyes knew what type of player he was. And so that was the reason he came. So, again, that's another reason why I don't think he's just going to take a gamble on Newcastle.
No.
And also, Russ, because obviously you're quite closely sort of connected with the club. Is it what was he as good in terms of his character and everything else? Did he fit in as well as it appeared he fitted in? Do you think?
Well, from what I saw, that yes, for me, he, and obviously, you know, I was obviously fortunate in the fact that I was watching all the games, so I was there, and obviously you watch a lot more when you watch it live than when you watch it on TV, and you saw the effort he did. I remember loads of times he would literally luck his guts out just to get back to the right back position when Soufal went up, and then for a cross, but you wouldn't see that because he'd be following the ball. You might see it when the ball comes back, but he put an effort in, and he, you know, and you see everything on Instagram and Twitter, and his interaction with Declan Rice, and you know, he did a bit with Jack and got with Jack Mate and got a tattoo. He tattooed him and all that type of stuff. You know, he fitted in straight away with that. That sort of culture, and because I wasn't against it, but I was like, when he joined, I was like, really? You know, but I was thinking of the Jesse Lingard who was camped out in the team bus videoing when fans were smashing the last game up. So that's the Jesse Lingard, but this was a different Jesse Lingard.
But there were a lot of people. He had a bit of a stigma surrounding him, didn't he? Because when we signed him out, and I've got to be honest, at that point, when he came in, you know, I wouldn't say I was over the moon, but I could see why Moyes had done it. I was still, but I mean, everybody, even people that would have been happy that he came in, would have been surprised and amazed at how fucking good he was, because he was amazing when he came in.
And you wouldn't have got that for a striker. You wouldn't have got someone who came there, hit the ground running, and got 9 goals in whatever, or 11 goals over there he scored. But it was a really great return for a midfielder.
I think the only potential issue there is when he comes back in, is he an half set the bar high?
Yeah.
He's got the fans. He's got the fans behind him now. The fans are in the stadium. That's going to give him another lift. Because you know, as soon as he walks in, we're going to be singing his name straight away.
Yeah,
you know, he's already won over the fans. He's already won over the fans, and he's got the motivation. And Russ said he's got the motivation, or you said, of getting into that England squad for later in next season, right?
Yeah,
that's all the motivation he needs, because he loves England. He loves playing for England.
Do you know what he's got when you watch him though, or when you watch Lingard? He's genuine class in terms of everything about him. His silky skills, his decision making. It's like I'm not starting on Benny. Benny is an extremely talented player, and he's technically very gifted. But his decision making sometimes leaves a lot to be desired, in my opinion.
Didn't you write him off last night? I think you wrote him off last night.
No, that was on a private chat, Gary. That was.
I've got this. This is called Nick's Black Book. Every time Nick writes off a player,
that was a private chat. I'm not starting on Ben Rama live on air. There's no way.
Who has Nick written off so far this season, John?
Souček 5 times.
Right, hang on. Fabianski, Souček, Johnson, Fabianski, Souček, and then Johnson again.
And now Ben Rama.
No, Johnson. No, don't be unfair. Johnson was once, And then, yeah, Johnson was, and all that was, Russ. What I was saying about Johnson, I was saying how I thought that he didn't offer much in an attacking. I never said that. I said I didn't think he offered much in an attacking sense, and that was we broadcast the day before he went and scored that fucking goal. Where he
you basically said he's got no longevity as a Premier League right back. You literally said that.
You did say that. You said
that after 2 games. Pretty much you did.
I can confirm this. Yeah.
All right, you did. Oh, well, look, I'll hold my hands up. I was very wrong with Johnson. I was wrong. I was hasty.
Right.
But okay, go on. Is that the end of your
News is over.
News is over. Okay. Yeah, you got old Tommy Murphy, John, in the chat.
Oh, good.
Aussie loved the Butlins weekender.
Yeah, I did. I used to love it back in the day. Yeah. All the older women.
Don't slam it no more, do you?
No, not now. I've moved to Harold Wood.
Oh, right, John.
Chin chin.
Right, John. This is your moment, mate. This is your moment. So get on the old slide. So here we go.
Right, mock the week. Just so you know, a couple of slides have been banned. Nick has banned a couple of slides pre-show. Not sure why, but I won't go into details. Anyway, where are we going to start? Well, let's start with the obvious, the managerial merry-go-round that we've experienced in the last week or so. We'll start with this man, Antonio Conte. After his fantastic win against the mighty Leeds last week, where they emphatically beat them 2-1, Tottenham have confirmed that a DVD film/movie will definitely be released. I've got some stills. I've got some stills from the movie showing how Conte behaves. This is him celebrating a throw-in. This is him celebrating Kane having a shot on target. And this is him. Well, he's just celebrating. I don't know. Anyway, there's going to be many characters that we know in the movie, obviously, and who's going to play who. Harry Kane being the biggest star. Who's going to play Harry Kane? Some say Brad Pitt. Harry Kane has said he's going to play himself. So there's Harry Kane arriving at auditions there.
Yeah.
Conte's refusing to be in the movie. As we know, there's somebody at the moment who's very much looking for some work. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said he will step in and play the role of Antonio Conte there. As we know, the movie starts very well with that emphatic win over Leeds, but just a few days later, it all ends in turmoil with that fantastic defeat yesterday to the Minnows. And just so we know, there's the Spurs web reminding us that it's not for everybody winning on a Thursday. There he is, the teary-eyed Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Now, to be honest with you, we can laugh and mock at him, but he seems like a lovely guy. And I think he actually said the £7.5 million payout that he's getting, he's going to give to charity. So as much as I'm having a bit of a laugh here, hats off to him for that. So it's fantastic. Yeah. Here he is. He's thanking Harry Maguire off camera. Well, he's thanking Harry Maguire for absolutely fuck all, really, isn't he? Because Harry Maguire was part of the problem. Many managers looking to take the role at Man United, as you can imagine. We've got this new Italian maverick called Samuel Aladicinio. He's thinking about coming in to take the role. We have also heard that Zinedine Zidane's been linked with the job. However, he's decided to learn the English language so he can tell Man United that he's not interested. Obviously, they've told us that they only want an interim manager. And who's there? Who's the best interim manager we know? There he is. Big Sam's on his way to Old Trafford. He can't wait for that month. He can't wait for that 6-month interim role. Obviously, as we know, there's always an emergency. And when you're on a London bus, if you break the glass, you can get the hammer, which gets you out of the sticky situations. I think we've forgotten this man, Ferguson, still there in case of emergency. So, if they need anyone, they can definitely bring him out. Moving on to who's going to take over at Man United again. Obviously, Pochettino's been linked, the Tottenham legend manager there. But footage has emerged of Mbappe, Messi and Neymar cracking up at the prospect of him leaving them to go and manage them. You know, there's not really a, you know, who would you rather manage? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Going back to West Ham, we all remember fondly Andy Carroll. Andy Carroll has recently signed for Norwich. No, Nick, take that down, mate. That's not Andy Carroll. Find Andy Carroll, Nick. Andy Carroll, there he is. Andy Carroll has joined Reading on a short-term basis. The thing that makes me laugh with this is injury-prone Andy Carroll has signed for Reading to cover for injuries. I mean, I'm not being funny, but, you know, that just sounds ridiculous. The irony is lost on me, exactly. England's finest, Harry Maguire, or Slabhead, as Nick calls him. He's banned. He can't play against Chelsea at the weekend. Thomas Tuchel is distraught. He's actually put an appeal into the FA to try and get that card overturned so that he can definitely play.
Yeah.
As we know, the Ballon d'Or is coming up very shortly, and the greatest of all time, is it Messi? Is it Ronaldo? Well, Ronaldo's going from strength to strength. And let's be honest, Messi at the minute in France isn't exactly tearing it up. And I've found footage of him actually planning for his next role after he retires from football, possibly in the summer. Here he is working in the local kitchen in downtown Paris. Yeah, so that's my mock of the week. Hope you enjoyed it. And moving back to you, Nicholas.
Very good, John. Very
well
good.
done, John.
Well done.
Well done. Okay. Right, let's get rid of that. Okay, right. Shall we move on to the game at the weekend?
Yeah, definitely.
Should we move on to Man City?
Yeah.
You know, it's a bit of a scary fixture. Bit of a scary fixture, but with I do feel like you know, I feel like we as long as we give a good account of ourselves, I'm not going to go in because we played. I don't know whether you saw it, Russ. You probably didn't, but I did a Liverpool preview and I did a statistical breakdown, and everyone wanted to top themselves by the time I'd done. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that with Man City because it's pointless. You know, we know how good they are. We know how many goals they score. We know that they just fucking beat most teams. So there's no point doing that. So we're going to go a little bit different direction. We're going to talk about West Ham. Fuck Man City in this one. We're not going to do a review of Man City. Can
I just say something though, Nick? I don't think they're as free flowing and as goal scoring as they once were.
No.
They're not. But they're still an amazingly talented team, aren't they?
No doubt. But...
They're an amazingly talented team, and they have got they've got a lot of people making a fuss about. De Bruyne is out, isn't he?
Yeah, he's still got his 10 days.
Yeah, so De Bruyne is out, but I mean, when you got a squad like that, they should be all right. Let's face it. It all comes down to West Ham, and at the end of the day, I think that when after what we did in that cup game and in several other games, like against Liverpool and everything else, I think that we've shown that we can set up and we can match these teams and we can give them problems. And on if we play the right way and we're committed. We won't get another performance like we gave against Wolves, against Man City. That won't happen. It just won't happen. And I just think that I wouldn't say I've got a good feeling about this. For me, I would be accepting of a defeat. I want to win. All I want to see. No. But you wouldn't kick off if we lost to Man City, would you?
No, you wouldn't kick off. But my I don't go from like there's a bit of nuance with me. It ain't either all good or all shit.
Yeah.
There's a bit in the middle, So if we lose to Man City, we lose to Man City. But at the same time, I'm not going to say up front that I'll be accepting.
No, I'm not saying I'll be happy if we lost. But
you got to see what happens, right? If we put in a good performance, if we put in a strong performance, we turn up and Man City play to their peak and turn us over, then that's one thing. Right?
Yeah.
If we turn up and we play badly and we get turned over, that's another thing.
No. Right? If we turn up and we play badly against Man City, then we get absolutely goosed. That can't happen. We can't play like that against Man City because if, for instance, Wolves, a better team, would have been 3-0 up against us, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
They would have been 3-0 up against us easily. So we can't play like that, and I don't think we will. I think that was a bit of an anomaly, that game, and there were plenty of valid reasons for that as well. There were for us, 4 hours with a baby, Antonio's fucking, being flown back from Jamaica about 12 hours before.
Can I just say something? You know what made me laugh about the whole Antonio thing? People seem to think that just because he was on a private jet, that would eradicate jet lag.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, but even that one, right? I actually saw an argument about Fornals. Fornals being slated. He ain't played no football. He's been in. His missus has been in hospital. He's been rested. Have you ever had a fucking baby? Do you know what's involved in that? Seriously.
See, I don't know. Listen, I've never been on a private jet, but I've flown in like upper class and first class and business class quite a few times. Right? No, but what I'm saying is, upper class and business class and all that, the flatbeds, they're really comfortable. And I've heard from people who've been on private jets that they're not that comfortable. So, you haven't got the flatbed or anything.
No, but what I'm trying to get to is you're coming from a different time zone. You're still going to get jet lag.
Of course you are, but I'm saying the comfort
you're
of
still
the plane
get
itself.
jet lag.
It's private, as in you've got your own space and stuff like that. But I'm talking about the the flatbed in business class. You can actually get a lovely sleep on it. It's all right, you know.
No, I mean, when I took Jill to Mexico a few years ago, she only woke up when it was time to come home.
Yeah.
She was wiped out.
Yeah,
that was.
So
is this turned into an episode of Wish You Was Here?
Yeah.
Are we flying Ryanair, mate? I don't know what you were talking about flatbeds and first class.
No, don't get me wrong. I never paid for it. Someone else did.
Oh, that's all right then.
Yeah.
Evening, Charlie.
You're right. Yeah. So I think that's a complete fallacy. But I think, Nick, the last time West Ham put in a performance like that, I think we were there. It was away to Southampton directly after an international break.
Used to went to that, didn't you?
That was a bad game.
We were rubbish that day, weren't we? I mean, they just completely shut us down.
It was a shit game. That was a really, really bad game. But I will say, I think up to that point, Southampton had done that to plenty of teams as well. I think they were very good. Very good. We were kind of our tails were up at the time because hadn't they got good results against Man United? They nobody was scoring against them, so they were very good defensively. Antonio had a bit of a mare, didn't he? Had a bit of a mare, but no, I think this is different. I think this is one of those games where, like I say, they can't go out and not perform. You can't go out and not perform against this lot because if you dare do that, you're going to get haps because they're going to be relentless, aren't they, Russ? Yeah, if you turn up against this lot and you're not up for it, you're going to be in trouble.
Totally.
So what you're sort of balancing on? You're balancing on whether or not, and you do need that. It's like if we play Chelsea. When you're playing these teams where that have got that much talent, I am sorry, there is only so much you can ever do. So you can only ever give a good account of yourselves unless you're getting a bit of luck on your side. If you're playing against somebody with the embarrassment of riches that Man City have got, if they do turn up and they're playing 100%, there ain't going to be an awful lot you can do.
No, really. No, not if they're playing 100%. Definitely not.
That's what I mean. So.
Are we going to do the squad selector? The player?
Yeah, I'm going to pull it up because there'll be a little bit to talk about on this one this week.
But I mean, speaking to like Man City fans, like they were saying, the two games we played them last year were probably their two hardest games they've played. So
really?
That's what they said. That's what a few people we interviewed have said, and obviously we got a point, didn't we? At home, we should have easily won that game, to be honest. And we were lucky. I think John Stone scored a goal, and I think it was 2-1 or something like that away. So it was the odd goal, and I think for us, it's where we were talking about. I think it was on a podcast on Monday, and they were saying, this was the proverbial free hit. It's not that now. We're competing in their world now. So it's as you said, I think you've got to play your best. But you need a little bit of luck. They need to play 98% rather than 100%, and then you'll be all right.
So you don't think it's a little bit of a free hit then?
No, not at all.
You don't think that? What I mean is if we lose, we're still fourth, yeah.
So lose, we're still fourth. So it is
that's what I mean. I'm not.
The fact is, you lost. If we lose on Sunday, then you've lost 2 games in a row, which Moyes doesn't do very often, and you're still fourth. But that's 6 points dropped, which means it's.
I think when you say free hit, I think when you say free hit, I agree with you, Russ. Because when you say free hit, it's kind of demeaning. You know, it's one of those things where you're saying, if we do our best, we might get something out of it. But I think we're in a position to compete with these teams now. Even if they do play well, I think we can compete.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Palace,
absolutely agree.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I do. All I'm trying to say is right. Do you know what? I'm actually trying to be the good one here for someone who normally moans a lot because what? No. Do you know what I'm genuinely worried about? The Wolves game was a bad result. It was a bad result and it was an anomaly. What I don't want is for us to lose a second game against Man City, which would not be a disaster, but for that to give, because some of the shit that we've seen from people since we lost that Wolves game, it's been ridiculous. It's been, and some of it's still going on. And
what really frustrates me is, someone like Wolves. I think someone said a stat that I think this is Wolves' best Premier League start ever.
They're a good team, Russ. I didn't realise they were.
They're sick for a good reason.
I didn't realise that. Oh no, but they completely outplayed us. Though.
Outplayed us, and it was a game where we just weren't at the races. And as you said, I think that the Twitter meltdown was ridiculous. And and it's like, I don't want us to be in that position where we sort of consider ourselves a bit like Tottenham, have a given right to win these games. Some teams now they turn. I mean, Man City, pretty much if they turned up, I don't know, at Norwich away, they'd turn up thinking they've won the game already, and that it will take them a God-given right to it's their God-given right. But for us, I think we weren't at the races, and Wolves played us. They played us.
They did, and fair play to them. To be quite honest, I think it's not always a happy hunting. I mean, I've been there a few times. Wolves, I've never seen us win there.
No,
me neither.
The only thing, like you said, if we lost against City, you worry about the meltdowns, because I think a lot of fans,
that's what I'm worried about.
Yeah, look, football fans in general are fickle. Yeah, we're a fickle species. Yeah, generally, right, and we know that. But people have got to be really, thoughtful of where. I've said this before. I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself. Look how far we've come in a short space of time. Don't start throwing your toys at the pram after one bad performance. We know it was a bad performance. It's our only bad performance of the season. The other two games we've lost in the last minute. So to throw your toys at the pram so frantically after that Wolves game, it bamboozled me. I couldn't really understand it. I was disappointed like everyone else. But
do you know what? I can almost accept an immediate knee-jerk reaction to a bad result. I can, because I don't think. I think sometimes people.
You was livid.
I was livid, but sometimes
you didn't take to social media.
No. But sometimes what people can do, what people forget is, if you was in a pub watching a game and it was a bad game, it would just be full of people saying how shit it was, and they'd be fuming. So the immediate reaction after a game, I can understand that, even on social media. I don't mind that. But my problem was, it was like the comment that I put on our group. That was 2 days later, and it was still going. There was people building cases. It's like we've got this undercurrent of poison. People that are just fucking waiting for it. He's jealous, Anton. Look, he's jealous.
You know what? Right? You know what? Right? You know why? We found a way, but the other two are too cheap to have PowerPoint or second screen for it to work. So it works.
Oh, really?
I can show you. Yeah. It looks great. I'll show you a picture of it. It looks great.
I'll be honest with you. I sent Stel the template.
Yeah.
I did.
He's talking about Stel now. Look.
Yeah.
I sent Stel the template. Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Have you seen Stel's template?
Exactly. Right. That's it. I'm going to show you my. I'll share my template later. Go on then.
Yeah. No, there. Give it a look.
Look what Dave said. Look what Dave said about Russ. Look,
I know it's awful, isn't it? It's a bit of professionalism.
Russ looks like he's recording.
I used to like Dave. He was all right the other day.
That's superb.
His card's marked now.
Yeah.
Unbelievable, Jeff.
Right. So anyway, look, let's get Anton like that. Right. So let's get into the into selecting the team anyway. So, right, let's keep the first. Who are we going for? I mean, I want to after the Man City game, I want to see Areola. That's the only for this game. I'm not saying drop Fabianski. I just think that Areola is a better shot stopper, personally.
You can't say put him in the team, but I'm not dropping him. If he's not in the team, you've dropped him.
No. I'm not saying permanently. We've got a squad, and we got a squad that we should use.
You can't start fucking around with goalkeepers just for the sake of it.
Fabianski.
Oh, okay.
Fabianski.
Yeah, Fabianski.
Stupid, Nick. For God's sake.
Bowing to peer pressure. There you go. Right. Okay. Right. Let's do right back first. Sufel had a very good game, didn't he? Against
No. Yeah, he did.
Vienna.
But no, it won't change.
No, it won't change.
I agree. Good. Okay. Mr.
Oh.
Johnson goes on the right hand side. Okay. Well, which left back are we going to play? I think there's only one, isn't there?
There's only one.
I'm sure Stel would like to see Masuaku, wouldn't he?
Of course he would.
Right, the big one. What are we doing here? With what's this? He thinks one false change. What false changed? False change. Anton?
Yeah, but don't listen to Anton. We none of us could predict the bloody same team the other day.
He can't even fix his fence. I'm not going to listen to him.
And before we carry on, Anton, do you want to come on and help us do this? Help us do this squad selector.
He's probably holding the baby. Bless him.
Yeah.
Let us know if you want to come on, and I'll put the I'll send you the link.
So who could that be? One false change.
False change.
That's quite interesting.
Inside info, isn't he?
He don't know. He don't know nothing. I don't know who's his false change.
Well, I want to know now. He can't say that and just leave it there, can he?
Well, it's just like a cliffhanger. You have to watch the West Ham Network on preview show tomorrow. He'll tell you.
Oh, he can't. He's got the baby. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Exactly.
No worries.
Right.
Sounds like 4 nails there.
Yeah. All right. So look, for me, I'm going to say I think after Zuma's shaky performance at left back, I think Zuma's going to play. So Zuma has to be right back. I think we're going to see Zuma around. Oh right, okay. Not false. Ignore me. I forgot Wolves game. I think we're going to see Diop and Zuma.
I do.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
Dave's going to be smashing his TV up as we speak. Dave's got a massive man crush on Dawson.
Only because he likes his hair.
Yeah,
he doesn't even rate him as a player. I just think he likes his mop.
Right now, this is interesting because my argument, and do you know what? I will actually accept. I think Souček had a really good game against Rapid, and he looked lively, which was good to me. There was a couple of moments because sometimes what I criticise Souček for is when he's under pressure and he's used to the ball and stuff like that. I think he was pretty good against Vienna. I know he weren't under the same sort of pressure he's going to be under. I think what we need, though, is what Lanzini gives you in central midfield. Yeah. I think, you don't necessarily need 5, 6 foot 4 players in on the park. The majority of Man City's players are all 3 foot tall, aren't they? And they're quick and they rat around. And I think we need to be able to hold the ball a bit and do something with the ball. Personally, for me, obviously Rice is going to play. I'll put Rice in there.
Yeah.
Are you gonna? Souček's going to play, isn't he? Souček's going to play.
They're going to play both of them.
Is he honestly going to play? Is it?
You can make the case for Lanzini all night if you want. It's going to be Souček.
Right, so you saying Lanzini don't start?
No.
I would actually listen. This predictor is what you think Moyes is going to pick, isn't it? So I would like to see Lanzini start. Maybe not even ahead of Souček. Maybe ahead of Benny or something, and change it slightly. But
that is exactly.
How about instead of Benny?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
That's how he could play him.
Yeah.
He won't. He'll play.
He won't. Exactly.
Yeah, he won't. He won't.
I was thinking exactly that. You know, perhaps Ben Rama would make way for Lanzini, only because Lanzini, he played bloody well against Vienna, didn't he? Really well. He looked so good.
He did. But it's the opposition you're playing as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, he looked good because he had a lot of time in the ball. No one was really pressuring him. You know, City are City will be sniffing around him like a rat up a drain pipe. And so, I think you need to, where we might not necessarily have the technical players. We're not technically as a team as gifted as City. What we have is physical presence, and so obviously them two in the middle, and I think we'll do and Fornals zipping around would make a big difference for us.
Yeah.
I agree. I think the team, apart from Diop in for Dawson, that's the only doubt for me. I think the team picks itself, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So you saying that Ben Rama starts and Lanzini don't then?
Yeah, because I think last week, sometimes people react to a game. No names mentioned, Nick. People react to a game when someone has a bad game and say they're crap and they can't do something, like they can't work in tight spaces and stuff like that. As we saw the other night.
Gary hasn't had one bad game. Souček, he ain't had one bad game this season.
As we saw the other night, Souček can operate in tight spaces when he's playing well. Souček has the odd bad game. That doesn't mean he's a bad player. He has had one of those seasons where his form's been a bit intermittent. So I don't think there's no way Souček is going to be making way. He's largely still delivering.
All right, well, let's move on from that then. So number 10, I'm personally gonna call Lanzini in the number 10. We'll go with the majority. What do you all think? Who's going to go number 10?
I'd like to see Lanzini in, but as the other guys said, I just don't think Moyes will do it. That's it. I'd like to see him have a go, but
it's a predictor, so I'd predict Ben Rama.
Yeah.
Ben Rama number 10. 4 nails left.
Yeah.
Bowen right.
Okay. Where's Bowen?
We need to buy some players in January so we've got more people to choose from.
Do you know? Yeah, but because it used to be the case where literally we would, there was always until maybe the last half a dozen games, there's been a twist somewhere. It might be something with the Bowen situation or the right back situation or the goalkeeper situation. We're all sort of questioning. Now it's sort of a settled team now. It used to be you couldn't predict the team we were going to pick really, all 11. Now you sort of can for these games, definitely now.
Can I do something with this team? I'm not saying that this is what's going to happen, right? But let me tell you what I potentially would do, because I think in wide positions, I think that Man City are gonna obviously they're gonna attack us all over the pitch. Centrally, we should be fine. We should be able to compete with them centrally. I would potentially consider a double fullback, right? Now listen,
just jumped off a cliff somewhere.
What's that?
No wonder Stell didn't want us on the late show tonight.
Exactly.
I know. But
I had this theory the other night when Masuaku started as a left back for West Ham. I think there's this ongoing joke in the football management community. They all know, all the football managers around the world know that Masuaku can't play left back. He's a fucking rubbish defender. And then that was a direct snub by Moyes. He was taking the piss out of his opposite number by selecting Masuaku playing as a left back, right? You cannot play. All right, you're playing him on the left wing. It's different. But you still need the defensive side of the game against Man City. And Fornals has got to play.
Right.
Surely.
I'm not dropping players because they're no good. I'm looking at an opposing team and thinking where they could potentially hit us. I think I do like Frederick. So you can see what I'm doing. I'm doubling up. I'm doubling up on fullbacks.
Yeah, you are. But I think what we're doing there is what we're there. I think we play our team. We play the game we want to play. That's basically giving, I think, City, and I think traditionally that's what we would do, Nick.
Yeah. Giving them too much respect.
Give them too much respect, and then we moan that we give them too much respect, don't we?
Yeah.
And for me, and what I think is really cool there, and actually it's one of my big bugbears at the moment is, the way how Antonio is always picked, and sometimes like the Wolves game, he might be there, but he shouldn't have started. He should have been on the bench, and there's certain games this season where they started Antonio because he's there rather than necessarily Wolves play. As I said I think the watch along with the Wolves game. The Wolves team defenders every day are up against Traore, who's basically Antonio.
That's a brilliant point.
Same as Genk. When he played really shit when we played Genk.
Yeah.
And Genk have got Big Paul up front, who's a big domineering centre back and stuff like that. And so they're used to playing where, those type of games, you'd play the Bowen and then it's more ticky-tacky. It's not lumped down the wings. And it just frustrates me sometimes. But I think it would be all guns blazing.
That show when you made that point, and I completely agree. I think when you look at that, because if there is a player that is probably I don't know, Antonio on steroids, it's Traore, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So let's have a quick look through at some of these comments. So we're way behind on the comments. So better air than you, Ersty. We've done that already. So Moyes picks Dawson every time. Chris Miles, man for man, we're outclassed by Man City. But we were against Liverpool too. I can understand the thinking of playing Diop. Because Diop, he's actually a left-sided centre-back. You know that.
Well,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So then why is there that fixation?
Why is this happening?
One then?
That's
Well,
what I
don't know
mean.
what it
There's
is. I
obviously some sort of questioning of,
Yeah.
you know, maybe it was the way Wolves play. Maybe because they play sort of traditional guys up front, you know.
Yeah.
So you want to put an old school defender. I always say Craig Dawson's like this old school defender as a blocker. And he didn't do anything bad against Liverpool.
No,
he came on and outmaneuvered the Liverpool attack, which is ferocious. And so we got the win. So maybe he doesn't drop people unless they make a mistake.
No.
And he wasn't great, so they might move it around a bit.
So Dave, Dawson has lovely hair and a lovely face, but not sure it's better than his. Chris Miles. So that makes a difference in football. Benny and Fornals will interchange. Yep. Arthur's not a fullback. Yep. We know that. And finally,
he knows that as well,
as we did last season. Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, for someone that was signed as a fullback, I mean,
that's what he said, wasn't he? He said, when I was at Olympiacos, I wasn't a fullback really.
Yeah.
Slight, red.
No, that's probably why he looks a bit awkward as a fullback, then, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, do you know what I'm going to suggest, Gal? Because we've still got, we've only got probably about half hour to go. I think the pivotal moments feature. I'm going to play that video now. We've got a lot of people watching us at the moment. We've got 30 in the chat, 30 watching us. So this is something for you to all get your thinking caps on. I'll play the video. You all right with that, Gal? If I do that?
Yeah, no, go for it.
Yeah, go on. I'm going to play it now. Have a little think, Russ. Have a little think.
Okay, so this is a feature, and it should get you thinking quite deeply. West Ham have moved on. Mistakes like this don't happen anymore. John Terry, famous racist who likes to sleep with his teammates' wives, hails from Dagenham, local West Ham territory. He recently tweeted about what happened that led to him, Ledley King from Bow, Bobby Zamora, Paul Konchesky, who I think was from Poplar or Barking, and J. Lloyd Samuel, all walking away from the West Ham Youth Academy, aged 12 or 13. Apparently, because West Ham sacked Jimmy Neighbour as the youth team coach because they were restructuring the youth team affairs at the time, they all decided to just up and leave at the same time. Now, when you look at those names, what they achieved in the game, and at their peak, consider what they would have been worth at their peak in today's money, let alone the transfer fees that they commanded, some of which were paid by West Ham. This has to go down as probably the biggest, most costly mistake in our history. And that includes, when you take into account the Tevez and Mascherano debacle, which I think ended up costing us 25 million. I think this one cost us a whole lot more. And then Manny Omenyimi's, I said that well, League Cup appearance against Aston Villa, which spawned a replay, which we subsequently lost. Thought we were going to the semi-finals. We were wrong. This, I reckon, is our biggest mistake as a club ever. And we've seen our fair share of self-inflicted pain over the years, but that's all over now. It doesn't happen anymore. Okay, apart from one small incident recently where West Ham were dumped out of the EFL trophy for playing Adji Alesi, who had been given 2 yellow cards in the previous round of the competition. So, yeah, it still happens. Anyway, look, enough of the horror stories. I want you to think carefully about this question. Can you each pinpoint one event? And that event can be anything. It can be a match, a signing, someone we sold, club ownership, a piece of luck, bad weather, whatever. Up to you. In your West Ham supporting life, that either became a pivotal moment or should or could have become a pivotal moment, a turning point in our fortunes for the better or for the worse. I'm just going to give you an example while you think about it. And this is a recent example. Had Jedson Fernandez joined us instead of Spurs in January 2020, Thomas Souček would not be here. And probably neither would be Soufal or Krau or the new Czech owners who seem to have adopted us as their National Premier League team. So a relatively small event, someone turning us down for a transfer, had this massive knock-on effect and benefited us massively. So anyway, you've had time to think. Over to you.
Oh, I like it.
It's a good one, that, isn't it?
I like that.
That is a good one. Who wants to go first? Russ, have you got anything that's sort of springing to mind?
Brian Dean scoring an equaliser against Wigan, which then meant that Palace got into the playoffs and knocked us out in our first playoff final ever, which then meant that Michael Carrick left and was the last of that sort of generation, which then meant that Pardew went and invested in the youth team, which then meant we got promoted the following year, which then led to an FA Cup
Jesus!
That is amazing. That is amazing.
That is a butterfly event.
Yeah.
That's unreal.
Yeah.
And Brian's a lovely bloke as well.
Yeah. So let's go while John and Nick think. Let's look at some of the responses we've got from here. So
Mike's put my one up.
Yeah.
So Claret was a huge pivotal sign. Yes, he was. That one.
That was going to be my one.
Yeah.
Look, we'll all remember that. The pure heartbreak of that. It was terrible. If Jimmy Greaves didn't swap first West Ham, we may have got relegated in that season. Oh, that's a long time ago. But yeah,
he's quite old, isn't he? So that's why.
The knock-on effect of that. His goals kept us up.
Yeah. But there's plenty then, you know.
Yeah.
Arson Kitson.
Well, I'd say as well, a sort of pivotal moment for me would be the when we were doing quite well, we're under Pardew, the Icelandics coming in, selling out to the Icelandics, because there were a lot of things. You know, firstly there was the Tevez and Mascherano that happened before the Icelandics, and then the Icelandics came in, and that led on. You know, there was a knock-on effect with the 2007 financial crisis where they went broke and everything else, and that led to Gold and Sullivan coming in, which, in the long run, through this winding road and relegations and everything else, has kind of led us where we are. It hasn't led us down the toilet or anything else. But I wonder what direction we would have gone in had Terry Brown not sold to the Icelandics at that point, where he perceived we were at the peak value, right? Because that's why he did it. He got rid of it at the what he thought was the market peak.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, for me personally, working at the club at that time, that was probably one of my funnest times, because we had like fucking loved you. Nani, fucking loved Nani. He was like a dude. He was such a dude. Yeah. He was just so like a slimy Italian, but I loved him. Yeah, I mean, obviously, then you had the famous patch era, what I've called affectionately the patch era, where we had, you know, all those crap teams who, you know, had Excel, and then they went and they had the patch, and then they put the number on and they squeezed the SBO bet onto a patch, and God, that was a fun time. That was fun. Do you remember they put XL Holidays? They put it on the top of the East Stand. So if you're flying over from Stansted, you'd see it. Brilliant. Loved it.
So, Nick, what do you think? Don't say you haven't thought about this, because you're the one that played the video.
I did. I was just going to go. I was going to go with fucking Scaloni, wasn't I? But no, I think, even though it's played out all right for us, I think that it's not a minor event. It's a major event. I think Dimitri Payet knocking that bird up in East London and getting her pregnant. I think that was quite a major event. That sort of put us back.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Yeah, I think that was and obviously West Ham's following transfer window didn't help. I think that was one instance where we actually had in that 15-16 season, we had some real quality. And I think that was one of those seasons where if we'd have had Moyes, we just needed a couple. We just needed to improve that team. Add a couple of real quality star players to that team, rather than going out and diluting that squad with, I'm not going to say, we're diluting them with, you know, I won't say shit, but with average players. Yeah. It brought the whole, you know, and that did put us back a few years. And that was one of the reasons why possibly it's taken us this long to get where we are now, I think.
You know, in that first season at the London Stadium, right, we were looking for places to drink over Hackney Wick. And West Ham had just lost, which wasn't unusual in that season. Yeah. And we went for a drink over Hackney Wick. And there was this little German bar that sold nothing but bratwurst and beer. and we got turned away from a bar across the road because I didn't want to let anybody in with colours on. It's like really strange around there back then.
Yeah.
Across the road, and I nearly got run over by a yellow Lamborghini. Now I don't know if you can confirm whether
It's a Beatles song, isn't it?
Whether the yellow Lamborghini with French number plates was Payet's one, but I was told it was.
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the yellow. It was yellow, yeah.
So just to spin the story, Payet nearly killed me.
He tried to mow you down.
He tried to mow me down.
This is a brilliant one, isn't it? I suppose, in a sense, taking this a little bit further, if Paolo Di Canio hadn't have shoved over Paul Alcock, we probably wouldn't have picked him up.
That's true, actually. Yeah.
You know, that was. I mean, because I'm not being funny. He still is my fucking. I idolise Di Canio. You know, that was kind of. He's still my favourite player. And who else we got here? What's this from Anton? Look, Sam Byron pulling up against Watford at the London Stadium.
Yeah.
Dean Ashton going to the England international training and being.
I was just going to say that.
Sorry, John.
I was just going to say my pivotal. Sorry, Russ. You must have been reading my mind. My pivotal moment happened the other day yesterday I think it was, when someone tweeted that Ashton is 38. Right, he's just turned 38 this week, and it made me think. It made me think of what could have been with that guy. You know, because he was like nothing I'd seen in my lifetime as a striker at West Ham. At that time, he was unbelievable. I remember getting a supporters coach up to Man City on the Monday night in the cup game when he scored. I think he scored both goals. We was eating roast beef dinner sandwiches, me and my mates, because we'd got a hangover from the day before, and my mate had piled his roast dinner that his mum made into sandwiches. We was eating that on the way up, and he was absolutely class that day, you know. And just the other day, seeing that he's just celebrated 38. His 38th year. Yeah. You know, it seems like. How long ago does it seem that he retired? It seems crazy, like 20 years ago.
I was at a night with him the other day, and he spoke really well. And it's like someone asked him that question, and he was just thankful for his time at West Ham. Obviously, you know, what will be will be. And he said you'd imagine some people would be really sort of depressed, but he was never that way. He was like, you know, he was fortunate enough to have spent time as a footballer, got to the Premier League, got to play, you know, to be in the England squad, and so he was always very much, you know, he didn't have any hard feelings towards SWP and stuff like that. And
he did say at first, because I listened to him on an interview once on might have been on TalkSport, and he did say that there was a period where he struggled with it. He said apparently that wasn't even an intense training session where Sean White went in and done that to him. And he said initially, there was,
I suppose in retrospect, in it,
I think what Mike said here is absolutely right. I don't think, apart from the Man U bit, I don't know whether he would have been playing for Man U, more than likely, but he would have been the regular England forward. He was class, wasn't he?
He was class, absolutely.
Had it all.
So that little tackle by in training by Sean Wright Phillips, that was a true pivotal moment. Absolutely,
it really was. What's this one here from Dave? Lucas Neal playing in the last dozen games in 2007.
It's true as well.
Yeah.
So. Well, he was a great captain, Lucas Neal. Really great captain. And when you're looking at captains, you're looking at him, and I'm thinking Nolan. Nolan was a fantastic.
Nolan was a great signing.
Yeah. You cannot underestimate the power of a good captain.
No, he was really interesting because we've obviously been fortunate enough to interview lots of ex-players, and we interviewed, I think it was Anton, and he spoke about Lucas Neal in the highest regard ever. And it's like, look, he goes, what he taught me when he was at the club made me the man I am now. In terms of, apparently he had like team meetings where he basically literally dragged Curbs and Mervyn Day out of the room. It was just he would go around and get and take a percentage of each one when we did win a game that year, that season. Take money and give it to the kit man and the tea lady and shit like that. Which, you know, absolutely.
But he got a bit of bad press, didn't he? Because he chose us over Liverpool.
Yeah,
I think when he chose us over Liverpool, everyone was going, "Oh, you were only there for the money." But like you said, until you hear those stories, you don't know the true sort of
totally.
making of the man. Do you know what I mean?
Saw him different light completely.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, social media was poisonous then as it is now, and he was being called Lukash Neil, wasn't he? Lukash Neil.
Yeah.
They were taking the piss out of him. Yeah. So, but he was clearly brilliant, and he built that team together.
Could you
What's
say?
this one here from Stell? Look, going further back, but it's West Ham next pivotal moment. Greaves again getting injured during the '66 World Cup, meaning that Spurs didn't have bragging rights, and the West Ham players.
Well, that is a true pivotal moment. A true pivotal moment.
And he missed out bragging rights during the World Cup.
Nick, let me just replay it, right? Jimmy Greaves, he got injured in the first game, I think, of the tournament, and it was a gash, I think, on his shin or something like that. And that led to Jeff Hurst getting brought into the side, who scored, and basically stayed in the side and kept Greaves out. Greaves was healing. He wasn't fully fit until like the quarterfinal or the semi-final, but by then, Jeff Hurst had cemented his space. And directly, you know, that injury to Jimmy Greaves has led to this massive West Ham legacy that we won the World Cup.
Yeah. Which we did. We did win the World Cup. Let's not beat about the bush.
Yeah,
but
there's plenty of pivotal moments that people probably wouldn't like to admit. Like, let's be honest, the appointment of Allardyce when we got relegated had got us straight back up. You know,
100%.
You know, and as much as we know play the West Ham way and all this other stuff, as much as Allardyce was never going to be a fan favourite because of his supposed style, I sort of always admired the way that he, in the 3 years he was there, I think it was, he always improved. He always did what his job description was. Got us promoted first time of asking, kept us up in the Premier League in the first season up. And the next season, I think we finished higher than the previous season. So what more did you want from the guy? You know, I mean, his football. And I always felt with Allardyce that if Man United would have played those long direct balls that he played at times, they would have been lauded for, what a great long ball. But as soon as Allardyce does it, it's like, same old Sam, you know.
And also, I think he, until Moisey, you look at before Moisey, Allardyce was the only one, I think, manager in the recent history for a while who had a clue and had a plan. You know, he knew what he wanted to do. It was a set in his ways and it was a system, but everyone he brought into the system. You know, Bilic, I think, basically just threw things and. It was fortunate because we had Payet and it was the last season at the Bowling. And, Pellegrini throw money like he did at Man City, but we're not Man City. Where Allardyce had a plan to get up. It wasn't maybe everyone's cup of tea, but he did it, as you said. And he then, for example, someone like bloody Kevin Nolan,
Yeah.
Well, Kevin Nolan's probably one of the best captains we've had in recent times. Really.
Absolutely. He was fantastic. And we wouldn't have got promoted if it wasn't for Kevin Nolan's leadership coming in when we were in the second division or the championship, joining us in the championship from, I think it was Premier League.
We mentioned this earlier on, Gal. What do you reckon about this from Anton? Pivotal moment, lockdown. I do think that was a pivotal moment.
Great shout, yeah.
I think it was. Yeah, I think it was. Absolutely. Just quickly, before we talk about that, going back to Allardyce, right? Allardyce didn't play the style of football that a lot of people liked, and nobody liked his brash. However, if you're working for him and he's your leader, I think you would have ultimate respect for the guy, because he completely he galvanized that dressing room. He protected the players. He never threw a player under the bus. He was a proper leader, right? Might not have done everything in the right way as far as we're concerned in terms of the football style and everything else and his attitude towards the fans. But if you work for him, you'd probably love him.
Yeah, he's very similar to Moyes in that way.
Yeah.
Like he likes a certain type of player, work for me, and you'll be one of my main men. The only time that I sort of did lose a little bit of respect for Allardyce was when he made all those changes and we got spanked against Forest in the Cup.
Yeah. When he cuts his ear.
I found that like he just went one step too far. I don't know what it was. I don't know what happened with that, but
that was terrible what he did to those kids because that seemed like revenge on the fans. What he did there, rather than anything else.
Yeah. What do you mean revenge on the fans? Why did you?
Well, because the kid we were asking.
He made a point. He made a point.
He threw them all in one game and got them slaughtered.
What about sort of going back to '86? I mean, obviously my memory of '86 ain't that great, but McAvenny was a centre back, wasn't he? When he got pushed up to He was when he signed us.
He wasn't a striker. Put it like that.
Yeah.
Wasn't it Mark Ward got injured, wasn't it?
Mark Ward got injured. There was a moment there when there, and obviously that was
Goddard. Paul Goddard got injured.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Goddard. Sorry.
Yeah, he was. He wasn't a defender. He was an attacking midfielder, wasn't he?
Was he an attacking midfielder?
Yeah, I think he bought him as a 10. He was going to play as a 10, and the idea was going to be Goddard and Cottee and Maka, and then Goddard got injured, and Maka just went up front, and it just clicked, and he never got back in, man.
Bloody hell! I was only
Someone wants Russ to sing.
Dave's got he's got a new man crush. Look, he's gone off Dawson. He's gone on to Stelios. Look,
that's it.
Bang. He's gone on to Stelios. So he's but no. I think who was it who made this point? It was Stel. This was definitively the pivotal moment.
Oh look,
it really was.
It's another massively pivotal moment. I mean, it's huge, isn't it? And that's goodness from both sides. It's goodness from Sullivan that he backed down and admitted he was wrong and hired Moyes again. And it's good from Moyes that he accepted, being sacked and came back. It's worked out beautifully. It's like a fairy story.
Very lucky though. Let's be honest. Very lucky. The way they treated him in the first instance was terrible, I felt.
Absolutely, yeah.
Going for the big overseas foreign name, Pellegrini,
and I think we were all. I think some people in hindsight, I didn't want Moyes to go. I think when the promise of Pellegrini coming in, it was the next level, and spend that money, we were like, this is brilliant, and it just all threw up in our face. I mean, a turning point might have been Fabianski of getting injured, because then Roberto came in, and then. Pretty much that was it. He was done. He was done in, and or decision to let Adrian go and bring in Roberto and David Martin, bless them, for the 2-for-1 job. There's loads, but that's always been us because we haven't had success. We always look at those pivotal, those sliding doors moments and go, oh, if we'd done that, we'd have done that, chain of events, and then we'd have won the league that year. It was no.
That's it. I know. But it does feel like all the stars are aligning now, finally, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It does feel a little bit like that, All those, obviously it's in our song, Fortune's always hiding, It feels a little bit like we might be. Just imagine this season, if that's what I mean, if we can, that Tottenham game is really important because I'm not saying that Tottenham are the last hard team that we're going to face. They're not. But we've done Man City, we've done Man United. It'd be so good for us in that European competition to go into that last 16 with already a cup. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That is going to give us
takes
the pressure off of us.
Yeah.
Listen, let's not get greedy. I'm
greedy.
I will take no. You're already planning on 2 cups this year, right? I'll take one, and listen. The three-handle cup. It's my favourite three-handle cup. It's the one that we nearly won in 1981. I'd love to win the League Cup, but I'd much more than anything, I love the FA Cup as well. I'd love to win the UEFA Cup, the Europa League.
I'm just going to ask this question here.
Look.
Well, look, in the league, I think top 8, without a shadow of a doubt, winning a cup, any cup, that could be league in this order for me. It'll be Europa League number 1, FA Cup number 2, League Cup number 3. But I'll take any of them. I'll take any of them.
Yeah,
exactly.
Oh no, I would as well. I would.
Yeah.
And do you know what? Even if at least a day out of Wembley.
Yeah.
At the very least.
Exactly.
But I think it's just a day out because losing is just crap, right? I want to win at Wembley.
Oh no, that Liverpool is still one of the best days that I've had.
Yeah,
it ended horribly.
We did beat Blackpool at Wembley, remember, in the playoffs. That was a good day out.
That was a great day out. But me and you, Nick, we drove up to Cardiff for that FA Cup final in 2006, right? We had such a brilliant day, didn't we? We'd probably still be drinking there now had we won. Yeah. But as it happened, we lost. And, well, we didn't really lose. We lost on penalties. And we drove back down the M4 that night and didn't say a word to each other the whole way home.
No. Well, why would you? Why would you? It was miserable.
It was bleak. It was bleak.
Do you think in any instance though, from the position we're in now, would there be anything that would be so if we finish in top 8 and didn't win a cup, would it be like absolute abject failure? I don't think so,
because I think this is a learning curve this season in some respects in terms of handling sort of the Thursday Sunday, and that's what we want more of. And what I love is Moyes wants it to be a Wednesday Saturday job, so he's looking for the top 4. I mean, someone asked him, I think 2 weeks ago, press conference, whether West Ham are title contenders, and he said no. He says, but we're contenders for top 4, and that's his.
We are.
We are. What
did we miss out on top 4 last season? 2 points.
2 points. Yeah.
2 points. Do you know what I mean? And we are still. I think calendar year we're still third, aren't we? We're still the third. We're still the third best team in the calendar year. So.
Oh, are we?
Yeah. We are. So it's
you mean since January?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not what I'm saying is this isn't by chance. We're not. And that's what I was trying to say the other day on that thing on Facebook where people were fucking flipping out. And like I say, I can understand a knee-jerk reaction. I can understand a knee-jerk reaction. I can get that. Yeah. Especially against a game where you feel like you should win, or at least compete, which we didn't. But then you've got to look at that. That literally ended. What was that? That was one of our best runs for how long?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And it's obscene. You've got to look at the bigger picture.
85, 86.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. So it is a bit strange. And that's what I'm worried about. That's what I'm worried about going into Man City. That's why I didn't want to kind of because in that game there, I'm not fearful of losing to City. I'm fearful of I don't want to lose this momentum with the fans and a good feeling because it does feel like we've got an undercurrent of really poisonous fucking fans. It does feel like we have.
And the thing about the 85-86 season was it was 85. It was just one season. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
It's like we almost went down the year after, and
it was crap before and crap after, wasn't it?
Exactly. So this is like even if we finished say 6th again or 5th,
well, 15, 16, not going back so far. It's the same thing.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, it's sort of for me, it's about how we can do. Yeah, Stell is.
Is that your birthday? Is that your birthday?
60 in Seville. Yeah.
Really?
Have you booked tickets, Stell? Have you booked tickets? I'm sure Dave and Mike would like to go here.
Planets are aligning for Stelios.
Exactly. It's meant to be.
Yeah.
It would
be romantic, though, wouldn't it? To see that.
Finish, Nick.
No, it's
sorry.
fine. Doesn't matter.
Sorry.
Doesn't matter.
No.
For me, success. For me, I was going to say success isn't necessarily even winning anything. It's maintaining that position and then maintaining it next year as well.
Yeah.
Because then we start. We're not. Then it's not. Jokingly, the race to 40 points. It's we know we're not, or we're more likely to stay up than stay down than go down. So then we can get in the cup.
Stability is success because we haven't had much stability over the years, have we? So
consistency is success.
Yeah, but I've changed it to stability. That's my own take on it.
No, I know, but if we can get to where David Moyes' Everton team were in challenging for the top 6 year in year out and regularly getting into the UEFA Cup or the Champions League, that's success for us, right?
Yeah.
We're into Premier League predictor, yeah.
That's it. We're moving on. So we're going to go with Russ first. So, Russ, Arsenal versus Newcastle. What are you calling in that game?
I'm going to say 2-0 to Arsenal. Newcastle going down this year.
John, Palace Villa. Wouldn't that be good if Newcastle went down?
Palace Villa. I'm going to say that's Vieira versus Gerrard. 1-1.
7. Cable's dying, people. Hang on. The tab button's not working. Fuck's sake.
Use your mouse.
I'm going to have to. That's double fucking labour, man. I can't do that. Right.
Double the labour.
Right. Gary, Liverpool versus Southampton.
2-0.
2-0. Oh, this is bollocks, this is. Where's my tab button gone?
Oh, sorry.
Right, hang on. 2-0. Right. I'm going to go Norwich, Wolves. Norwich are getting goosed in that one. I'm going to go 1-3. Russ, Brighton and Hove Albion versus Leeds. That's a bit of a...
I think Brighton will win that 2-1.
2-1.
Leeds are appalling at the moment.
John, that's a shit game, isn't it? Brentford versus Everton.
That is a game.
Yeah, Everton a pony as well, aren't they? And Brentford ain't great. 1-0 Brentford.
Do you reckon?
Yeah. Well, you want me to say something different? If you give me a script, if you want.
I'm just a
give me
bit
the
sick of
answers.
them. I'm just sick of them after that game that we had with them. All right,
Get
Gary.
over it, Nick, for God's sake.
Right, Gary, you know the fucking rules here. Burnley versus Tottenham.
Oh, fucking hell. That's 4-0 Burnley, isn't it?
At least.
To be
Burnley.
fair, that
4-0
actually could
Burnley.
be
That could
possibility
happen,
anyway.
yeah. And I think if you saw Conte's post-match,
Yeah.
it looks like he knows their shit now.
Yeah.
They're not very good. The standard is not very good. It's like, no shit, Sherlock.
It's not very good.
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to go Leicester, Watford. I'm going to go Leicester 2-0 on that one. I know Watford had a bit of a good result against Man United, but Man United is shit, aren't they?
Yeah.
Russ, Man City versus. I'm going to leave this to you, Russ.
Go on,
Man
Russ.
City versus West Ham. Go
We're
on,
relying on you, Russ.
I think it's going to be Desmond. I think it's going to be 2-2.
2-2.
Yeah.
Going Desmond.
2-2.
Good choice.
Blimey.
No one, no one's
I'd take that all day long. I really would.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
That's a really good result, you know. I just want us to give a good account of ourselves. That's all I want.
Yeah.
Right, John, finally, Chelsea versus Manchester United.
3-1 Chelsea.
You don't think Carrick's going to pull it out of the bag?
Nah.
Nah.
I'm surprised they kept him, to be honest with you.
What, are we moving up here?
Still fourth.
Oh, fuck's sake.
No. Yeah.
It's hard
so
up.
what?
It's hard up this part of the league, isn't it? You win. You can win 6 weeks on the trot and not fucking go nowhere.
You know what he did? You know what he did last week in your absence, Gal?
What?
He made us do 2 weeks
done
worth
two.
of predictors
I've done a
just
second-
so
I've
we
done a
went up
second-
the league to
I've done a
second or
second
something.
week.
You know the first
He went
week.
mental because his older brother weren't about.
You know the first week we did this, right? He said, "I'm going to do 4 weeks of Premier League predicting." I said, "Fucking hell, people."
I thought we had made for good YouTube. What are you talking about? Right. So, Gal, go on. I think that's us done. Russ, thank you so much for joining us, mate.
Pleasure, man.
It's been brilliant. So, Gary, over to you.
Thank you, and yeah, Russ, it's been a true pleasure having you on, and an honour, and a pleasure. So,
thank you.
Absolutely superb as usual. Thank you to Nick and John. If you've not done it yet, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit the like button. And if you like what we do, please share it with your like-minded friends. And don't forget to leave us a comment or two. Next week, we'll be back on Friday night for the Friday night booze up. So until then, thank you for watching. See you next time. Come on, you irons.
Come on, you irons.
Come on, you
Don't